And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the WardiTV Monday number 35. I hope you enjoyed that lovely break, the brutal OST. Do apologize for the extended break, but we are here. We are back with our next series with our fresh best of 3. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Pylon, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss. Oh my god. We have the Blue Protoss representing Virtus Pro. It is Classic. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Weibo Gaming, WBG. It is SHIN. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat as we jump into our fresh best of 3 quarterfinals match. As a reminder, the winner of this series will advance on to the semifinals to face off against the winner of Clem and Mana. So Clem and Mana facing off. Meanwhile, MaxPax just took down Beyond 2-0. MaxPax waging in the lower semifinals. Hero and Creator waiting to face off against MaxPax as well. So we have PvPs amongst PvPs amongst PvPs. We have a Protoss confirmed for the lower, or for the finals at least, through the lower half of the brackets, but will it be a Terran, Zerg, or Protoss opponent? Yet to be determined. Let's go. Who'll be the next finalist here? As for now, we're going to be settling in. Again, we just featured Classic against Scarlet, and Classic was able to flex his more aggressive tendencies against Scarlet. We'll see how SHIN will compare though, because SHIN likewise is often a little more of an active player. SHIN is very fond of 3-base all-ins. Like, I think of a lot of 3-base all-in play, like 4th base just for Larva, and then like Ling Hydra-based play out of SHIN. Does very often embrace that kind of style. Coming into Pylon, I do kind of favor that. I do favor that just because of how open these spaces are. We mentioned this previously. Pylon is a very wide map, that is true, but the rush distance by ground is very direct. It's very direct, it's much shorter here, and the bases are more open. You can see here, a much more open 3rd base. So you can get an arc, you can get a nice concave as the aggressing player. Same can be said here towards the left-hand side. I would say that this base is more secure just because of the ramp, the more narrow ramp and the more choke point here towards the left-hand side. But this triangular base can be more exposed, and likewise, there is an avenue here in between the 3rd, the natural, and the 4th base. There is an angle here where you can just attack in and go straight for the kill, straight for the natural instead. So you do have options with how aggressive you want to be on Pylon. Again, it's more open than Ultra Love at least, but we'll see if we can get there. For now, Classic does poke in. 3rd base on the way. Again, hatch gas pool, standard play out of SHIN. Nothing crazy, nothing wild, no early gas, no early pool, no early timings. As Classic does go for a Stargate opener back at home, opening up with the Oracle. Oracle is on the way. Just opening up with said Oracle. Likewise, a couple of Lings are amassing here for SHIN. We have 6 more Lings on the way. Should just make sure he's secure against the Adepts. As I say, ooh, take down the Tumor, nice pickup. Tumor goes down, the Lings they keep up with setups as well. As we see Classic threaten. Oracle has arrived. As the Oracle rocks up as SHIN, he does try to catch set of depths. Left a shade into the natural, they don't commit. Lings, they find the Adepts. They will force activation of the Pulsar Beam, or at least they try to. Now it doesn't commit. Behind this, Twilight Council is now on the way. Now, Forge alongside it, this does feel like interesting. I was going to say Blink, but if you recall, if you get a Twilight Council this early on, you often do delay your Forge. Are we going to Charge instead? Keep an eye on Classic to see if this is +1 and Blink or +1 and Charge instead. So my eye's going to be on Classic. For now, he does poke out, takes down some of the tumors. He's being active. SHIN is still just droning, just saturating, building up his army, building up his economy, more importantly. Just droning up as much as he can. Eva Chamber's on the way. This feels like +1 melee. Eva Chamber's on the way. We have our tech of choice, +1 and Blink, not +1 in Charge. Okay, going for a standard follow-up. Building up towards a longer game. Nice reactions out of SHIN. Pulls away in time. Now against +1 and Blink Stalkers, Ling Hydra is ideal, so we're leaning towards +1 melee. If we see +1 range, then this may be a 3-base all-in as we can head towards 3-base saturation into Mass Hydra. We'll keep an eye on SHIN as the do actually get past the army. Yeah, they're shading into the main. So far, no major economic damage yet. Adepse commit to the shade. They get into the main base. Drones are going to be falling, and SHIN, he reacts a little bit too late. Other boys are being pulled. Boys are being pulled. Drones are going down. It's going to be 5, 6, up to 7 drone kills. Ay, ay, ay. Can we get 8? Can we get 9? Here we go. 8. We get 9 drones towards the end. Just barely. It's getting even up to 10. Oh, no. 10 workers go down again. That is brutal damage. And Shinny has to counterattack. But back at home, what is, I mean, we have swords in position. Oracle's racing back home in time. There's the NG overcharge. And Shin, he is deflected. He is deflected. We have +1 in range on the way. As we mentioned, if we saw +1 range, this is leaning towards a 3-base all-in. What I mean by that, we should be seeing a 4th base just for Larva. We should be taking all 6 gases, but we'll see if Shin actually drones up the 4th. We'll see if he actually makes any more workers from there, or if he just masses up Ling Hydra. With that +1 timing, oh, actually does go for the forward base. My apologies. With this expansion, there is that high yield gas geyser, true. Does have the gas. Meanwhile, Lings, they attempt to surround. They will pick off 1 Stalker. They get 1. Stalker goes down. Storm is on the way for Classic, building him towards a longer and later game. I mean, Classic is looking really comfortable. After all that damage, he's getting into Blink Stalkers, +1, +2, charge, Storm. Classic is settling in. Meanwhile, we spoke about SHIN going for a 3-base all-in, and if you notice, SHIN, he has not made any drones. SHIN, he's cutting workers at 66. He has not actually drone up his 4th base. He transfers to the 4th just for the gas geyser, but I believe this should just be for Mass Ling Hydra. Yeah, so 3-base all-in, nice around. Ooh, catch that. The Oracle takes down some of the Stalkers. Massive catch here from SHIN. Yeah, nice start, and here we go. He's building up nothing but Ling Hydra again. He is not droning up that 4th base whatsoever. He did transfer over just for extra gas, and it's all or nothing. And again, +1 range did scream that as he's knocking down those rocks, opening up the map. Banelings are morphing in. Banelings towards left hand side, and Storm is going to be ready. That's a lot of High Templar. That's how many? That's 6 High Templar. Oh, say 6 down to 4. Each with at least 1 Storm. It's not going to be easy here for SHIN to break. SHIN's still waiting for Hydra speed, and now he does lunge forward. But the Storms will zone him away. SHIN trying to lure the army out into the open. Storm on the Banelings. Doesn't either. Banelings will leave from behind. Bailing speed is still not done. Storm's being spent on the Hydras, but that's the final Storm. And SHIN is done as SHIN. He breaks the main army, baits out the Storm, takes down the Archons, and the Classic will lose everything. And from here, we send it. Remember, no drones, no saturation, 3-base all-in out of SHIN. He catches the army, and Classic is not ready for this. He was not ready for this. He was caught out in the open. And we send it, Pap. We send it. Keep going. As SHIN, he stutter steps forward. There are some Storms to defend. We do see SHIN and pre-split. Pre-splits his army. Banelings roll in. GG gets called, and SHIN will take game number 1. Whew. GG. SHIN does take a lead in the series. Again, it was a very intense game. We saw Classic initially take a lead, getting a lot of economic damage early on. But after that damage, SHIN, he did decide to commit into a 3-base all-in. But this was a boosted 3-base all-in more than normal because of that high yield gas geyser. The high yield gas meant that we had extra gas for more Banelings, more Hydras, for bailing speed as well. So he did have that boosted economy, and with that, he was able to overwhelm, cash Classic out. Classic, it looks like he didn't recognize that it was an all-in. What I mean by that is that Classic, upon seeing the 4th base, upon seeing some of the droning, he probably thought that SHIN was droning, which is why he was active when we knew that he wasn't. If Classic was aware that there were no drones on the way, Classic shouldn't have been out on the map. He should have been defending back at home and turtling up with shield batteries and with cannons. As you saw, no side defense at the fourth base, so so Classic was caught with his pants down. Classic, he did not realize how aggressive, how committed SHIN was. GG. GG well played with that. SHIN does catch him off guard, and now we are getting into game number 2. Let's go. We're jumping into game 2 here, and we'll see if SHIN can claim the series or if Classic can recover and force the ace match. Let's go. As we are loading into Ultra Love. We've featured this map every game so far in this broadcast. Every series has featured Ultra Love in some way, shape, or form. Let's go. We're going back in. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Ultra Love, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Virtus Pro down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back. We'll see if he can force that ace match. It is a Classic. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the Red Zerg representing Weibo Gaming, leading the series 1-0. It is SHIN. Here we go. Going for a 15-15 opener. Let's go. Does open up 15-15. With this, we'll have an earlier hatchery, an earlier spawning pool, but delayed gases. So later gases here from SHIN. So he does mix up his opener here, coming into game number 2. As I'm assuming he's going pool, pool before gas. Likewise, standard opener out of Classic. Now, thanks to this 15-15, it does mean that SHIN, he can freely expand without worrying about any kind of hatch block. Does get that up and running. But once again, welcome one and all to Ultra Love. Again, we feature this map quite often here tonight already. Once again, just to reiterate, Ultra Love is one of the more defensive maps in the map pool, is known for having a more secure 3 and 4 base setup here on Ultra Love. Likewise, though, again, if you can break a player before they can get up to 4 bases, that is more ideal, and we have seen in every series so far all-ins. We've seen a lot of German taxis, a lot of Queen and Roach space all-ins here on Ultra Love. Likewise, it's going to be available to SHIN as well if he does take some damage early on, or if he sees an opening to try to break Classic as well. So it is very common to see all-ins of some kind here on Ultra Love. Specifically, not necessarily because of how exposed the third base is, not at all, but the rush distance by ground is really short, and you have the added benefit here of trying to strike and go straight for the natural instead of the third. And that is where damage can be done, at the natural. Meanwhile, Stargate opener out of Classic. So you have the Stargate. SHIN is investing into link speed, does pull out of gas, and is now claiming his third. Claiming that third base. From here, droning, saturating. Likewise, Oracle opener out of Classic. Again, to be expected. And we'll see if Classic can replicate his success from last game. Remember, last game he got 10 drone kills. In a way, you could argue that he forced the all-in out of SHIN, which is why it's a little bit on Classic that didn't recognize and respect it. Wasn't necessarily ready for it. But did do a great job early on. As oracles are moving out. They do threaten the bases. So far, 2 greens in position. They won 2 drone kills, nothing major. 2 drones go down. Classic does pull away. And we are waiting for said Twilight Council. And there, the Twilight Council has been thrown down. We're expecting a Forge alongside it. If it's Twilight Council and a Forge, should be Pulse on and Blink. Classic slips in, gets another 2, gets another 3. Oh, no sport the third. But there are 3 queens, and the Oracle is punished very hard. Oracle takes a lot of damage, takes a lot of hits, is going to be zoned away. And SHIN is holding. Behind this, no Forge. No Forge, extra gateways. This does feel like... Oh, no, never mind. I was going to say Glaive Adepts, but a Forge gets run down here at the natural, so it's going to be +1 and Blink. Not Glaives, but a later Forge and a later upgrade. As Blink is on the way. Behind this, SHIN throws down the Roach Warren. Based on what SHIN has seen, this does look like Glaive Adepts because there is no Forge. You can see that it's hidden on the right-hand side, so that's forcing out Roaches. Ideally, against +1 Blink Stalkers, you want to skip Roaches and go straight into Link Hydra. So Classic is forcing inefficiencies out of his opponent. So he does force out that Roach Warren. Upside to Thread in the Shade. Once again being active. Station Trap into the natural. Oh, SHIN does pull away. Oof, getting 1 drone caught. Just the 1. Roach speed is in production. And we are going Roaches into a Spire into Muta play. Let's go. The Spire has been thrown down. My eyes are on SHIN. Getting ready for mutas. We'll see if he does keep this hidden. Meanwhile, Classic behind this is securing his third, taking gases and taking up Nut into Colossus into Storm. We've spoken about this in the past, but you've seen it already here in tonight's broadcast. No Colossus production because of the change, because of the NG overcharge. High Templar are a lot more lucrative, a lot more tempting, and a lot more standard in today's meta in PvZ. So +1 Blink into Storm. As things, they do hold position in the mineral line, not bad. They get 1 probe. 1 worker goes down. Link's gonna be forced back. At the same time, Classic pushing in towards the right-hand side. But nice stasis. Stasis goes off. Roaches are exposed. And SHIN taking a lot of losses here. Has to fall back. Falls back to the Queens. The base is under fire. The Queens will help hold. SHIN defends. And SHIN the Spire is done. Spire's complete, but where are the mutas? SHIN, he was forced to make all these Roaches. But there we go, 9 mutas on the way. That is more than enough to one-shot, and so far unscouted completely. Classic, he does have some shield batteries here at the 3rd base. The main base is exposed, the natural also exposed as well. Classic, he has no inkling of what's going on. He has no idea. But he does have a terrifying army. That's a lot of storms. So I can definitely see these mutas doing a lot of damage. The question becomes, can SHIN survive the counter-attack? Because Classic, he's moving out and he is spotted. Ooh. Mutas, they're making their way across. Again, this is not going to be an easy defense. We need some Ravagers. Only 1 Ravager. That's not going to be good enough. Lings a bit at the first storm. But the first storm does connect. Oh, Ravager is exposed. We just see SHIN collapsing in the army. Gets off the High Templar. Nice around. And most of the High Templar are forced to morph into Archons. SHIN's holding. Whew, a very nice surround. SHIN, he holds on, he shuts down the Archons, he forces back the Stalkers, and this army will not break SHIN. And what's important, bam, mutas into the main. Mutas, they hit the main base, probes are falling, Classic is being pulled apart, he has no main army, forced to recall. And this is doing crippling damage, 11 probe kills. And SHIN is not done, Blink is on cooldown. Getting up to 13, 14, 15 probes. And behind this, SHIN is building up his own Link main army. SHIN does overextend. Bleeds out 2 mutas. 2 mutas go down towards the end, but that's still going to be 17 probe kills. And SHIN, he's about to max. He's about to max out. And again, the scariest moment was the fight that occurred here out in the open. But SHIN, with a beautiful surround, he forced out all the storms, collapsed on the army. I wasn't sure he could. But that was a game-winning moment here for him. Muta's now being dealt with. And here comes SHIN. SHIN is up 40 supply. Going for the 4th base. Mutas are being dealt with. SHIN, ooh, does take some storms to the face. That's a lot of storms. SHIN having a hard time pushing in. Another storm on the Mailings. We spoke about this. We spoke about how defensive you can be on 4 bases here on Ultra Love. Shin is at a good start, but can he end the game? He wants that High Templar, does get it. Files are connecting. But Classic is holding. Classic is holding on. Okay, that's a lot of Blink Stalkers. We spoke about this earlier, but again, Ling Hydra is more ideal against Blink Stalker. Ling Roach Ravager can struggle as a lot of roaches are going down. Expensive losses there for Shin. Has to pull back. Classic, he is holding, he's surviving. Again, it is difficult to break a player on 4 bases. And Shin is not droning up. He's choosing not to drone. From here, he could be teching. He could be going into Hydras, into Hive, into a 5th base, into 80 drones. Shin is making the choice to commit and to stay all in. Didn't have to. And the longer this goes on, the better it is for Classic. As that is so many Blink Stalkers. Likewise, he has 6 High Templar. Like, Shin, he was looking solid here, but again, the Storms, they deny the Banelings. Another Storm with the Roach Ravager. Ooh. Phoenix goes down, but the Storms are brutal. And Shin, he can't really engage here. Oh! Some Banelings do connect. A handful of them. But Classic will still take this fight. At the same time, though, oh, 19 probes! At the same time, Baneling right back here into the 3rd. This is what's important. 19 workers just went down. And Shin, he's not stopping. Shin, he is still choosing not to drone and not to expand. I do like this. So Shin, he's going to rotate. He's rotating over towards the 3rd. Now there are less defenses here. He's going to force the attention at the 3rd base instead. And you can see the Baneling run back towards the 4th, but there are cannons. We'll see if Shin can pull this up. Shin building up. I mean, it was nice getting 19 probe kills here, but this is still looking better for Classic. Like, as the game progresses, it's just getting better and better for him. Like, Shin, as the time goes on, is getting worse for the Zerg. Banelings are getting ready. This time Classic is going to be more attentive to the run by. And you can see Classic is fortifying himself. We have more cannons, more shield batteries. Classic becoming more secure over time, and now there's less opportunity for Shin. Less opportunity. See, just more static defense. Ay. We have Skytoss on the horizon as well. Main armies are to engage, but one army's not quite like the other. The soup does lie. Banelings, they roll in. They get some decent damage. They get 9 probes, sorry, 10 probes even. That's okay. It's okay. Still not ideal. Classic pushing towards that 4th. Moving him to the bases. Shin getting ready for this around. It does roll in. That's a lot of storms. The High Templar, they should be caught though. Oh my god, massive storms on the Banelings. There's still, what, 2 High Templar left. And Shin is running a team. He's running a team. He's running out of units. Shin has been outscaled here throughout the game. 12, 13 drones going to be going down. GG gets called. Shin is broken, and Classic ties up the series 1-1. Whew. GG. We are going to the ace match. Again, as you mentioned, time and time again, it is very difficult to break a player on 4 bases on Ultra Love. Shin did a great job early on with the mutas. We mentioned we were praising Shin at the time. He was able to collapse on the army, cleaned everything up, got into the mineral lines, got 15 probe kills. That was all amazing. And from there, Shin had to make a choice. Either go into the all-in and try to break a Classic before he stabilizes, or drone, tech up, and take another base. He made his choice. He made his choice. He did attempt the follow-up all-in. But we saw that Classic was able to barely hold on, barely defend, and Shin committed. He just kept on going. He chose not to drone, chose not to expand, he chose not to tech up, just kept hammering his head against that brick wall, and Classic did defend, did survive, did weather the storm, and does tie up the series. Let's go. From here, we're going into the ace match. We're going into game 3, and we'll see how this story ends. Do we go the way of Shin, the way of Classic, the way of the Protoss, the way of the Zerg? We're about to find out on Maganatha. Let's go. Let us go. Alright, getting into that ace match. And we're going to be loading into the largest map in the map pool. Oh boy, you don't get larger than Maganatha. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Maganatha, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Team Virtus Pro. It is Classic. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Weibo Gaming WBG. It is SHIN. Here we go. As the players are settling in and embracing Maganatha. And again, welcome one and all to the first time this broadcast to the largest map in the map pool, Maganatha. It's huge, it's massive, there are plenty of bases, long rushes by ground, wide open spaces kind of here. I say wide open spaces, there are a lot of choke points, a lot of rocks and towers can be knocked down to wall these areas off, to create more choke points, to defend, to survive, and to maintain yourself on a 5-base economy. What I will say here, as opposed to other maps, yes, this is a large map, but this is a far cry from maps like Neon Violet Square or Abyssal Reef. These maps that I just mentioned, even King's Cove, they have a much more secure 4 and 5 base setup. Here it is more spread out. Your 3rd base, your 4th base, your 5th base, you can just see here just how far apart these bases are. So yes, the map is large. Yes, there are a lot of bases, but the bases are more isolated from each other. They're more spread out, they're more exposed, and it is more difficult to rotate to keep up with an aggressive player and to defend on 5 bases, let alone a 6th base as well. Again, this is the trajectory that most maps are heading towards. This was the big controversial point about the older maps last season, about Neon Violet Square, King's Cove, and Abyssal Reef, is that those maps were large, a lot of bases, and also defendable as well. Like, they favor turtle play. Here, less so. Here, like, there are more ways to abuse and to counteract and to break a defending player, to break a turtling player. Which is how, again, most modern maps are. So we'll see what trajectory or what kind of direction SHIN goes in. I would hope to see SHIN embrace a longer game state and be a little bit more willing to drone up and be greedy and get up to a 4-base economy. But we haven't seen that yet out of SHIN this series. He can, don't get me wrong, he can play macro, he can play late game. And I feel like this map is going to incentivize that. We'll see. We shall see. As SHIN does claim his 3rd. Does claim his 3rd. Adepts do threaten Shades. Once again, Stargate opener out of Classic. Every game so far, Classic is going for Stargate into a 3rd base, into +1 and Blink. I see no exception here. I feel like charge-based follow-ups or even Glaive Adepts are going to be less effective on Maganatha. Just because of the size of the map. But we'll see. As Classic does threaten a Shade. SHIN is keeping up. Adepts, they do get into the mineral lines. 1, 2 drones going to be going down. Getting to 3. Getting to 3 drone kills. As Classic is claiming that 3rd. Oracle does pull away. There's that Twilight Council follow-up. And our eyes are on our own Classic here to see if he does throw down that Forge. But now just the Twilight Council. Which means there is a chance that he might go into... never mind. I was going to say he might go into Glaives, and there's the Forge, so it's going to be +1 and Blink on the horizon here for Classic. Getting to Blink Stalkers. Likewise, Eva Chamber here out of SHIN. This does look like +1 melee out of SHIN. Getting ready for Ling Hydra. Yep, there we go. As we mentioned, plus on melee. So again, the reason for this is because it was an earlier Evo chamber. Don't often rush into plus one carapace or plus one range or anything like that. So melee for Lings, and this leads into a more efficient composition. This also means that most likely Shin is going to be skipping roaches. There's no reason to get a roach warren. So ideally you want to skip it and go straight into lair and go straight into hydras instead. Speaking of, there is that lair on the way. Meanwhile, Classic rocking up with his 6 adepts. Sorry, 7 adepts even. One more than usually. Does threaten the shade. So far, Shin is keeping up. Stasis is going to be going off. Nice spade on the stasis. Stasis is baited out. Adepts, they keep pushing into the mineral lines. They get 1, they get 2, they get 3 drones. Not bad. 3, almost up to 4 drones going down. Shin doesn't pull away far enough. Ooh, and he goes back in. Do you have the recall? As we come in for the surround, but that's still 6 drone kills, and the Adepts, they get away. They do escape, but nice damage here by Classic. Very nice. And Shin, he's not set up for an all-in. Like, Shin, he has to just re-drone. He has to re-drone, resaturate Oracles. They put it back in, they get another drone. Another 2 workers. 9 in total. 3 workers even. Nice surround. Blink is done in 3 seconds. 1 Stalker goes down, gets 2. Not bad. Catching out 2 Stalkers. Trading minerals for gas. Behind this, Shin still just redroning, resaturating. Does have a bank, but that bank is about to be spent on hydras. Yeah, speaking of, hydras now on the way. Oh, as more drones going to be going down, this is getting brutal here. Thankfully, Shin does pull away, but that's still going to be a kill on the Spore. Right on the drone even. At the same time, nice surround. Oh, that's a kill. It's a kill, not a cancel. That should not have happened. Shin, finally something goes his way. He isn't taking a lot of hits, taking a lot of damage. That is a kill on the Nexus. Again, that should not have happened. As Lings, they threaten once again. Do you see Classic trying to wall up? Shin droning, taking gases. As we mentioned here on this map, we do expect Shin to take up into Hive and take up into Lurkers. That's the direction he's heading in. Heading towards that Lurker tech. Rock's being knocked down. Lurker 10 is on the way. Shin, he's setting up his posturing, but he should not commit into the bases. He should not commit into Storm. Oh. As one link gets caught. See Shin trying to deal with these towers early on. But it's going to be forced back. Again, Shin droning up to 76. A decent drone count. Catching out one of the Oracles, not bad. One Oracle goes down. Shin once again rotates to deal with these rocks. Hive is on the way. And Classic has not yet begun Skytoss. He's not there yet. Nice contamination. Contamination on charge. Shin attempting the surround, collapsing on the army. Doesn't catch too much, not yet. Storms a zone, decent storm with the Lings. Decent storm with the Hydras as well. But again, this is an awkward angle for defense here for Classic. Coming in from multiple angles, Hydras, they do start to step in. Where are the Storms? And already, Storms, they need a little bit more time. There we go, Storms are finishing, and Classic will hold. Classic, he does hold on, he does force back Shin. I'm a little bit concerned by the lack of droning. Like Shin, he's still only on 76 workers. He still has not really gotten another expansion. Like, that was a big commitment there from Shin, and he did not really get too much done here. But here we go. Here come the Lunkers. Lurkers are on the way. Again, we should soon be seeing expansion out of Shin as well. Investing into Lurker upgrades. Classic up to 83 probes. He's walling up. He's just fully walling up. And we'll see if Shin can break his opponent. Now bear this in mind. No Skytools yet. This is a late Fleet Beacon. A late Skytools transition. It's going to be a ground-based army for Classic. Classic going for the center expansion. And SHIN can try to break this. But now that he's unaware. He's unaware of the base. Now moving in. He's going to be walking into storms. Does burrow though. And he will break down this wall. At the same time, we do see Classic coming from behind. Yeah, Lurker's not quite in position. Hydra's getting called out. Lurkers as well. Surrounds one Immortal, but this is a messy fight for SHIN. As SHIN, he breaks down static defense, but he bleeds out a Luddling Hydra. Yeah, that was a messy fight. Can he get the expansion though? Ooh, Classic doesn't care. He doesn't care. He just moves out. And SHIN is vulnerable. SHIN, he's vulnerable back at home. There are no lurkers. There are no defensive lurkers. The base is going to go down, but that may not matter. Classic is going for the kill. Yeah, storms are available. He's got at least 4 storms. Storm zones away, gets into the mineral line, and yeah, SHIN gets caught with his pants down. The lunkers, they're racing back home. We needed them earlier. Did need them earlier. GG gets called, and Classic, he will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the semi-finals. GG. GG, well played. It was a good run here from SHIN to make it to the quarterfinals, further than we usually see Zerg players, but does get knocked out, and now it is purely Protoss and Terran moving forward. SHIN does claim it. It was close to go all the way to the ace match. Unfortunately, SHIN, he was just caught out of position here. He had a cheeky move by pushing towards the third base of Classic, that is true, but as we saw, Classic just counterattacked. He just ignored the lurkers. He's like, you know what? Your lurkers are looking terrifying. I'm gonna just leave you to it. I'm gonna just leave you to the lurkers. I'm gonna just ignore that. I'm gonna just move on. And from there, Classic, he was able to bypass the army, get across the map, and end the game. GG. GG, well played. How do you deal with lurkers? Just ignore them. Just avoid the lurkers. Just avoid them. GG, well played. With that, congratulations to Classic. And now we're getting ready for the semifinals, where we have some crazy upsets, by the way. Exclamation mark. Be in the chat to have a look at the back yourselves. Results that I was not expecting. I'll be honest, like, I do rate Mana very highly. We do praise Mana very often when it comes to the podcast. Mana recently defeating players like MaxPax, and now adding to the list, not just MaxPax, Mana takes down Clem 2-1. That's crazy. That's a crazy result. Mana, he denies that Clem. Mana, he proves that he is the higher seed for a reason. And Clem, he fails to earn his paycheck. Does fail to earn it. GG, well played. So Classic versus Mana is going to be the upper semifinals, and the lower semis are going to be another we have pure Protoss. Jesus. Has that happened before? Have we ever had a WardiTV Monday where we have only Protoss in the semifinals? That is crazy. I don't think we've seen that. Like, Jesus, like, usually we have like either Björn or Cure or Clem. Usually we have at least a Terran in the semis. Not this week. Pure Protoss. And not the expected players either. Again, Clem got shut down by Mana, and Creator takes down Hero 2-0. Big win there for Creator, as he does advance on to the semifinals instead. And up next, we have our PvPs. I mean, nothing but PvP at this point. It's going to be Creator versus MaxPax.